I'm Rob.
And I'm Tom, and we're the part gurus.
Springs. Once upon a time, Tom, this was just a simple commodity item. You bought it from a catalog.
You still can.
You can, but should you? Will it perform with your unique product and match all the specs that you need?
Well, you got a point, because you know why. No matter how small or big your product is, if the spring doesn't work, the whole product fails, and that's not a good feeling. So, Rob, remember going to Venice, Florida?
Good trip.
Playing a little bit of golf, and who'd we stumble into?
We bumped into Brad.
Stumbled or bumped?
He's big.
Okay.
He could get hurt.
Yeah. So anyway, Brad Moore from Southern Spring and Stamping gave us a few moments of his knowledge of springs and why maybe you should build a custom spring.
Yeah, you bet.
Welcome to Parts Unknown, the sourcing series that helps you be smarter about finding your best suppliers.
What you're seeing here is our largest spring customer. We ship them 1 million parts a day, and we make over 950 different versions of springs for them. I'll say that again, 1 million parts a day.
Wow, 1 million parts a day. You know what? Brad might be the perfect guy to answer our question.
Yeah.
The audience wants to know, why should I use a custom spring when the perception is stock springs are cheaper? You know, you could get it tomorrow. Amazon brings it.
They're cheap.
Yeah, they're cheap. Brad, before you answer the question, can you do us a favor? Show us a little bit about your shop and show us what's going on, and I bet you we're going to find some clues along the way.
I bet we learn.
I could tell you all the great things we do, or I could show you. Take a walk with me. Let's go. From this end of the shop, this is all springs and wire forms. So you'll see a holding area in the middle here for material. That's so either wire forms and springs can come this way, or that end of the shop can move this way. We have room for growth in this facility. Now as we come down here, in Florida we specialize in springs up to 1/4 inch in wire diameter. Our North Carolina facility will go up to 1/2 inch in wire diameter. Florida is more high tolerance compression springs and high tolerance parts, where North Carolina is more industrial type springs. Close to 50 years ago, we were making all the springs for a big typewriter manufacturer, and they moved their facility up there and said they're only using local vendors, and we moved with them and started that facility up there.
Wow, that place is spotless.
It is.
You could eat off the floor.
I'm hungry.
I bet you only eat in the springtime.
Yeah, I do.
So Brad, what kind of springs do you make?
In our wire department, we also offer extension springs, torsion springs, and wire forms. This is a magazine clip for the gun industry, double torsion spring, wire form. We can go up to 1/4 inch in wire diameter, and we can go down to 004, which is about half the thickness of your hair.
The other machine, which one can go to up to 187 wire, we're gonna make large springs, magazine springs for guns and stuff like that. So both those springs are actually used for parachute, and then you got, springs which one are just the regular.
So for many years, our core competency was compression springs and wire forms. We can do it from prototype all the way through high production. We specialize in smaller wire, tighter tolerance type, both compression springs and wire forms. We're willing to work with it. We can assist with design. We have lots of capabilities to help you get exactly what you're looking for.
Remember you saying how you said your coilers are unique and how they monitor themselves?
Over here, this equipment here is our coilers. So they're called simplexes. They run over 99% efficient as far as the parts that they make. As they run, they take a picture of every part that they make and self-adjust their own tolerances. On the machine here, this is a high-speed camera, and you can see on the screen it's taking a picture of every single part, and that yellow line will come down and narrow down inside the 2 red lines. Right now, this part is running 92% efficient. The longer it runs, it will get more up to that 99% efficiency.
Hey, I remember after you showed us the coiling, you talked about heat treating. Is that one of the reasons people would want to use a custom spring?
Every spring manufacturer in the world, when the springs come off of their equipment or any equipment, has to be stress relieved.
After coiling, you want to stress relieve the spring so it holds, the load and the properties of the spring.
So when you push it down, it will actually go back to where it needs to.
The heating, what it does, it do 2 things. Stress relieve the spring. Say like for music wire, you're gonna heat at 500 degrees for half hour to up to 1 hour. And then you got 17.7 stainless steel, which one will require 900 degrees for 1 hour.
So from that point, stress relieving is pretty common in most spring manufacturers. Some have to outsource it in order to continue their manufacturing. Ideally, you would want a manufacturer that has the ovens in-house, so it's a one-stop shop to get your springs complete. When they're stress relieved with the heat, some of it retracts, some of it moves forward, and you have to have that calculation when it comes off of the machine before it goes into the oven.
So this is a typical compression spring off of one of our coilers. As we run this, we're going directly into an oven, but we're also measuring both the OD and the length of it that will continually adjust as it runs. So if we can put all of these things together, we can streamline it, control product quality, and have better results for less money. If you're in engineering or purchasing, no matter the weather, it's always springtime here.
Springtime. Hey, Richard, who invited this guy?
Yeah, your jokes are no better, buddy. Tell me what you have to do when the springs have to be nice and flat, top and bottom. What do you guys do special to make that happen?
A lot of springs have to sit flat in their application, and that's what this entire department does here.
So we're grinding the compression springs top and bottom.
This is called Dorns. The Dorns are the high-end, high tolerance, can run themselves, can load and unload themselves if need be.
You know, on those machines, we can actually do squareness less than 1 degree.
As these wheels go around, they can get out of balance. What will happen is the machine will shut itself down and what's called dress the wheel. It will flatten the wheel back out to, again, give you a higher tolerance, higher precision spring in the end.
So we do have the capability of shop peening. Not all springs need shop peen, but if you need that done, we can do that as well.
Rob, shop peening. Didn't we go to that place in Atlanta?
That's all they did was shop peening.
Yeah.
They did a lot of massively big parts.
Well, that's the point, and they were aerospace parts.
Shop peening is used to improve the surface properties of metals. It involves bombarding the surface with shot, or small round balls of glass, metal, or ceramic, to create a compressive stress layer. I know that sounds tough. The impact creates indentations on the surface, which causes what they call plastic deformation, basically a little permanent change in the surface shape. As the material deforms plastically, it tries to push back against the shot, creating a compressive stress layer just below the surface. And there are many huge benefits of creating this compressive stress layer.
But how do you apply that to a spring, and why?
Shot peening, what it does 2 things. Relieve the stress from the spring and make the spring so it's not sharp.
And adds longer life to a compression spring.
Hey Brad, do you ever have to do specialty springs or even prototypes?
What we have here is referred to as a barrel spring, okay? Now, the first order of this, we had about 50 parts ordered. We have made in this department and shipped over 200,000 parts in 1 month, okay? Originally, on a kick press like this, it took 28 kicks to make 1 part. Our head of tooling and a couple other guys in the tooling department took their time and built this right here. Now, this machine will pump out over 400 parts in an hour. Set it up here, and set it here, put it on the lip, curl it down, and it's done. So, this machine does over 400 parts an hour. Kicking the parts, we could only do 100 parts an hour. Tooling team built this tool so we can run these faster, more consistently, and more efficiently. It's a combination of both. This is actually a stamping and a spring at the same time, which is not uncommon. A lot of parts that look like they may be a sheet metal part are actually a spring.
Hey Brad, when you first started the tour and taking us around, I noticed over your shoulder this huge area on the other side of the plant, and it looked like stamping presses.
They look like presses to me.
Are they?
So originally we were the first spring company here in 1957 in Florida. Because of customer demand and the evolution of our products, everything that you see here that's not just springs was from customer requests. So they want us to look at something else. We got into stamping, we got into sheet metal, we got into the machining because it was a drive where they couldn't find someone to service what they needed from that point. So everything has been driven off customer requests. We didn't really go in and say one day, hey, we're just gonna start doing sheet metal. It was a progression to grow with our customers.
So lots of times we have customers that we've done business with for a long time that use us for just springs or just stampings. When they find out about our added capabilities, that opens a lot of doors and opens a lot of eyes.
We're not just springs. We also manufacture sheet metal parts, stamped parts, machining, we do welding, we do powder coating, and we do assembly in-house. And with our newest division, Swiss parts. And it's all done under one roof, which is over 100,000 square foot campus. Now, as far as a quality standpoint, we are less than 1%. I believe our rejection rate is 0.01 or 0.02. And the majority of the time, it's a plating issue or a heat treating issue. Very, very, very rarely does something leave the shop that is out of tolerance, that's went through quality control and gets by there. Southern Spring and Stamping, our place does look like a resort, but that's because that's the way we want to treat you. We want you to feel like you can talk to us. We want you to have that resort experience where you know you're getting the best quality part and the best quality service at the same time.
So Tom, just like when we visit other shops with different processes, it's not just the part itself, it's the opportunity that comes with that part to play into the whole product that the person might be making.
Opportunity, what a great word. Because the opportunity exists to go way beyond the physical characteristics like size or coil count, the opportunity to determine how it's going to behave in certain temperatures, the opportunity to see how it's going to handle electricity, conductivity, how it's going to handle corrosion. So when you have opportunity to change some variables, you have an opportunity to make a better part.
And with talking to someone like Brad, you have the opportunity to see if the life of the spring matches the life of the part. If not, there's a design that needs to be, communication needs to happen to make sure that these two things match so that the longevity of the product is exactly what you want it to be.
Literally, the life of your product, the functionality of your product really depends on that weakest link. And most often, it's the spring.
Yeah, Tom, that's really what does it for me. You can save a penny on a spring, or you can put in a type of custom spring that determines the life of the product for the customer. It pays you back in the end.
You know what you're never going to get from a stock spring? Somebody looking into the future of your product. Meaning, if you're making a spring at Southern Spring and they see that you're attaching it to a metal assembly, they could literally turn around, show you how they can make both at the same time under one roof.
Customer can buy one SKU from you.
One SKU.
Do all the pieces, take control of it, and test that it's perfect. Every single one out the door is perfect. With the spring and the stamping and all the other things and the wire forms all together as one piece, I think that is
worth it.
And that's someone sourcing properly. By the way, this is not the first time we got our minds blown by the amazing thinking and capabilities. Most of the shops we feature do the same. But you just don't see it when you look at a web page and ask for a quote.
So we encourage you to open up to them. Don't just ask for a quote, ask questions, get to know them.
You'll be surprised at how much added value you will get.
This episode proves you would have never known unless you explored parts, unknown. And you can contact all of our suppliers at partgurus.com and follow the show link. Thanks for watching.